The US Marshals arrested Andrew and Tristan Tate, and now the two are fighting an extradition to the UK, where they face a total of 59 charges consisting of rape, sexual assault, and indecent images of a minor. The pair have since been denied bail, but we've been here before. Back in 2022, the Tate brothers and two female suspects were arrested in Romania. They were charged with rape, human trafficking, and forming a criminal gang to exploit women sexually, all of which was allegedly committed in Romania. At the same time, in the UK, 4 alleged victims sued Andrew Tate in a high-profile civil court for alleged rape, physical abuse, and coercive control. In January 2024, the UK police officers of Bedfordshire applied for arrest warrants for the Tate brothers to be arrested while in Romania and surrendered to the UK to be tried for 21 offences allegedly committed by the brothers between 2012 and 2015. Out of the 21 offences, Andrew Tate faced 10 of the counts, which included 3 counts of rape, 4 counts of causing actual bodily harm, 2 counts of human trafficking, and 1 count of controlling prostitution for gain. On the other hand, Tristan Tate faced 11 counts, which included 3 counts of rape, 6 counts of causing actual bodily harm, and 2 counts of human trafficking. And now the two brothers are facing 38 additional charges. The Crown Prosecution Service has now charged Andrew Tate with 7 counts of rape, 3 counts of assault causing bodily harm, 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, and 19 more charges for offences related to indecent images of a minor and extreme cause. In total, Andrew Tate faces 42 charges in the UK. Tristan Tate, on the other hand, is charged with 1 count of sexual assault, 2 new counts of rape, and 3 counts of arranging or facilitating sexual trafficking for exploitation. All these offences are alleged to have taken place between 2010 to 2017. Now, because the Tate brothers were still facing criminal proceedings in Romania, the Bucharest Court of Appeal agreed to the extradition request of the UK, but only after the conclusion of the trial in Romania, which would end up not taking off because of costly mistakes that the prosecution would make that would haunt them. The Tate brothers fought their case in Romania. In fact, they even appealed to the Romanian Court of Appeal, where they challenged their detention, the travel restrictions, and contested the prosecution's evidence, which they argued contained procedural irregularities. The Court of Appeal in Romania would end up suppressing and removing some of the key evidence, which included the witness statements made by 2 alleged victims and statements made by the Tate brothers, which would be deemed inadmissible, meaning that they wouldn't be used in court. Besides the suppression of key evidence, including the witness statements, the court would also find irregular procedures that the prosecutor had taken, such as the female suspects who were indicted were not properly presented, which means that the prosecutor failed to clearly outline the exact nature of criminal actions that they were actually being accused of, which deprived them of their right to a fair trial because they couldn't adequately prepare for a defense. Secondly, whilst the Romanian authorities had seized 15 luxury cars, 14 designer watches, cash which was in several currencies, and all these seized assets were estimated to cost about $3.9 million. In the indictment, the prosecutors failed to specify the amounts related to the assets that were confiscated. And worst of it all, one of the victims did not even fully understand the charges that were leveled against the Tate brothers. The Court of Appeal stopped the trial and ordered that the case be sent back to the prosecutors to either amend or withdraw the indictment. The Romanian Anti-Organized Crime Agency, Tate, was given 5 days to comply. The prosecutors would take an unexpected turn when in 2025 they approved the lifting off of travel restrictions for the Tate brothers, which was approved by the court. And since the travel restrictions were lifted, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate would fly to Miami, Florida. But this does not mean that the case in Romania was dismissed. It's still ongoing. Now, while in Miami, the brothers still faced the risk of looming arrest from the UK, and they were fighting the extradition. Through their lawyers, they had written to the prosecutors who had charged them with the original 21 offences, requesting for the names and identities of the victims, and this became another drawn-out battle with the UK prosecutors. The Tate's lawyers argued that the fact that they were charged but lacked any information regarding the names and identities of the victims/complainants, denied them of their right to a fair trial because the lack of such information hampered their ability to prepare, obtain evidence, and adequately defend themselves in seeking the withdrawal of the extradition request. But the special prosecutors in the UK argued that according to the prosecutor's 2024 guidelines on the duty of disclosure, the prosecutors could not at the time disclose the names of the victims because the Tate brothers had not been arrested, surrendered to the UK, arraigned in court, they had not taken their plea, and lastly, they were not subject to the bail conditions of UK. And so, because of that, the prosecutors took a precautionary approach to protect the complainants' identities, given the high-profile nature of the Tate brothers. But the Tate brothers didn't back down. They offered a £10,000 security as an undertaking that they would not disclose the identities of the complainants, and if they did, that the money would be forfeited. However, the Crown Prosecution Service declined to accept the £10,000, arguing that the Tate brothers were not in the UK and are not subject to bail within the UK, which means that accepting the deal would be risky because there was no legal mechanism to enforce the forfeiture of the £10,000 in the event of breach. Lastly, the security did not mitigate the risk that was being posed to the victims. And so the Tate brothers ended up filing a judicial review against the decision of the prosecutor to decline to disclose the names of the victims. The court, however, dismissed the application and ruled that their right to fairness was only applicable once they had been surrendered and prosecuted in the UK. So this means that once they were arraigned in court and took a plea, and that is when they would have the rights to the identities of the complainants to help them prepare for their defense. Secondly, the court ruled that the brothers had sufficient information to prepare for their case, since the extradition warrant, which they were privy to, provided them with the particulars of the offense that they were being charged with, the time period of the offense, and their degree of participation in those alleged offenses. And these extradition warrants were considered by both the judges in the UK and Romania, which both granted the extradition request. Moreover, the brothers had been put on notice to preserve evidence from social media posts, texts, from the time period of the alleged offenses. The Tate brothers remain at the Florida Detention Center as they await for their bond hearing set for 13th August to determine whether they will stay in jail or be released pending the extradition proceedings, where if they're extradited to the UK, they face 59 offenses committed against 7 alleged victims.